Dr. Shakuntala, I think there is some technical error at the end of Sridhar Iyer. So,
yes, so I think we can proceed. Namo Namaha to all of you, and I welcome all of you who have joined for the valedictory session of this conference. We will start with the Mangalacharana first. So I request our PhD student Kanakavalli to do the Mangalacharana.
Okay, I continue. Yeah, I was disconnected for a second. I could continue giving a brief of what we are.
Sridharji, we are at the Mangalacharana now.
Just a minute. I'll just start with it. Today, our two special speakers of the day, despite being on a different time zone, merged in this conference. Today, day 3 began with Dr. Kalacharya Madam on the chair, followed by 4 papers of varied stages. One spoke of the Bhakti movement of the Varkaris, while the other highlighted the vernacularization of Bhakti terms and connotations. The next 2 papers were of Sampradaya Acharyas and 2 important Sampradayas, the Swaminarayan Sampradaya and Nimbarka Sampradaya were focused, while the last paper was on the Vaishnava Bhakti in the post Shankaracharya Sampradaya. Vedopanishadam Sarajatam Bhagavati Katha Atyuttama Tato Bhati Pratak Bhuta Falakriti Amulagram Rasastishtan Astena Svadyate Yatha Sabuyah Sampratak Bhutaha Fale Vishwa Manohara. Now, before we begin this session, let us begin with the voice divine. The glorious utterances of the Alvas in soulful Tamil, which they communicated, with which Vaikunthanatha Vishnu on the earth spoke with them and he danced with them. I request Ms. Kanakavalli, my friend in the Department of Sanskrit, University of Mumbai, to uplift you all. In fact, uplift us all to the realm of the Lord. Kanakavalli, please.
Vaiyam Tagaliya Varkadale Neyyaga Vaiyakadiron Vilakkaga சுடராழியான் அடிக்கே சோட்டினேன் சொன்மாலே இடராழி நீங்குகவே என்று அன்பே தகளியா ஆர்வமே நெய்யாக இன்புருகு சிந்தை இடுதிரியா நண்புருகி ஞான சுடர் விளக்கேற்றினேன் ஞான சுடர் விளக்கேற்றினேன் நாரணக்கு ஞான தமிழ் புரிந்த திருக்கண்டேன் பொன்மேனி கண்டேன் திகழும் அருக்கணனி நிறமும் கண்டேன் செருக்கிளரும் பொன்னாழி கண்டேன் புரிசங்கம் கை கண்டேன் ஆழிவண்ணன் பால்கின்ற இனி அறிந்தேன் 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 இனி அறிந்தேன் ஈஷர்க்கும் நான் முகர்க்கும் தெய்வம் இனி அறிந்தேன் எம்பெருமான் உன்னை இனி அறிந்தேன் காரணன் நீ கற்றவை நீ கற்பவை நீ நற்கிரீசை நாரணன் நீ நன்கறிந்தேன் நான் இனி அறிந்தேன் அறிந்தேன் அறிந்தேன்.
Kanakavalli, are you there? Yeah, she's getting connected. I think.
Dr. Shakuntala, I think Sridharji's internet is staying slow. You will have to please introduce Sridharji and Dr. Shakuntala will welcome and introduce Sridharji so that Chinnaji Swami Maharaj can introduce give his valedictory session.
सच्चिदानंद कंदाय जगदंकुर हेतवे सदोदिताय पूर्णाय नमः अनंताय विष्णवे नमो नमः. Swagatam. I welcome you all in the valedictory program of the International Conference on Bhakti in Vaishnava Traditions. I welcome His Highness Tridandi Chinnajiyar Swamiji, Chief Guest of the valedictory session. I heartily welcome Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, Chairperson of the valedictory session, and Professor Rajesh Kharath, Dean Humanities, University of Mumbai, as they have agreed to be present in the valedictory session out of their extremely busy schedule. I offer my humble salutations and warm welcome to all the scholars, dignitaries, professors, and students. We had various speakers for these 3 days to speak on different dimensions of Vaishnava Bhakti. It's our great fortune to have His Highness Chinnajiyar Swamiji to conclude this conference. As a head department of Sanskrit University of Mumbai and also on behalf of Stockholm University, Sweden and Bhakti Vedanta Research Center, Mumbai, I welcome you. I consider this my privilege to introduce Chinnajiyar Swamiji. He is popularly known today due to his extremely important contribution of the making of the Statue of Equality. He is designer and planner of the statue of Ramanujacharya, known as Statue of Equality. Born on November 3rd, 1956, Sriman Narayana became H.S. Tridandi Sriman Narayana Ramanujacharya Swamiji after taking initiation as Tridandi monk in 1980. Sri Chinnajiyar Swami became the head of Srimad Ubhaya Vedanta Acharya Peetham in 1981. Since then, Sri Swamiji led many spiritual services activities under the wings of GR Educational Trust and Vikasa Tarangini for the benefit of the community across the world. Sri Tridandi Sriman Narayana Ramanujacharya Swamiji belongs to a highly esteemed line of monks of the followers of Sri Ramanujacharya called GRs. H.S. Tridandi Chinnajiyar Swamiji is an erudite Vedic scholar. He is a philosopher, an unparalleled spiritual teacher and practitioner of selfless service to mankind. He is an eloquent speaker acclaimed nationally and internationally for his various discourses. He is the torchbearer of Sri Vaishnava tradition, and the resulting tejas of his light has penetrated through all barriers of caste, religion, and nationality. His Highness Sri Chinnajiyar Swamiji had chosen to spend his lifetime serving people in various streams such as education, sports, and healthcare. Ever cheerful, ceaselessly active, unmindful of his bodily comforts, but always concerned about others' welfare, Chinnajiyar Swamiji radiates hope and joy wherever he goes. Swamiji has literally enlightened spiritual is a enlightened spiritual and humanitarian leader. Insistently he strives hard to promote world peace and harmony through propagation of Vedic wisdom, spiritual practice, religious tolerance, non-violence, joy of sharing, and mutual respect for all living beings. Acharya is the one who practices first and then preaches. Sri Swamiji exemplifies this. He is a saint with deep intellectual and spiritual sensitivity, an embodiment of rare virtues. He is an epitome of boundless love for all beings. All his activities show his deep concern and compassion for the society. Any devotee can observe excellence in all aspects of his living, right from the Swamiji's pristine appearance, his refined way of speech, the affection with which Swamiji addresses people in general, the lucidity and potency in his speech that can uproot ignorance in the receptive. All of this can be conspicuously observed and learned from. So we can see that though Vaishnavism sometimes is taken in very limited sense, Ramanujacharya has strived hard to propound the philosophy of equality and all inclusiveness. Chinnajiyar Swamiji is also practicing the same and propagating the philosophy of Ramanujacharya. So, respected Swamiji, please accept my humble salutations. We consider ourselves as blessed to have your presence today. I express my heartfelt gratitude for your presence in spite of your extremely busy schedule of doing service to mankind. Now we are eager to get guidance from you. So I request to speak and guide us. Thank you very much.
வெல்கம் சின்னஜியர் சுவாமிகளே. ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே శరణం, రంగమన్నార్ திருవడిகளே శరణం. చిన్నజీయర్ స్వామిజీ మా నమస్కారాలు. జై శ్రీమన్నారాయణ.
Swamiji, you need to unmute.
Jai Srimanarayana. Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry. Yo nityam achyuta padambuja yugmarukma vyamohatastaditaraani trinayamene asmad guror bhagavatosya dayeka sindhoho ramanujasya charanau saranam prapadye. Jai Srimanarayana to all Bhagavad Bandhus. We at the outset feel privileged to be a part of this international conference on the concept of bhakti according to Vaishnav tradition. We feel a bit embarrassed when we hear the introduction of Srimati Shakuntala ji. We are a very, very humble devotee of devotees, and we try to follow the footsteps of Sri Ramanuja Parampara. Though we are not very much acquainted with English, but we try to express our thoughts with you all, or just try to share our ideas with you in just few moments with regard to the title that you have given to us. I'm sure during these 2 days, great scholars might have focused on different aspects of Vaishnavism or Vaishnava tradition. Here, there are two words that caught our attention, or one is the bhakti and the other one is the Vaishnava. We try to just talk about these two things in brief and just share our thoughts. One is about the Vaishnava. What does it mean by Vaishnav? Is it a sect? Is it a cult? Or is it a race? Or is it a religion? Is what just I'll put before you in brief. Everybody believes that there is some power behind all of us. People give different names to those powers. And people believe different sources also to believe in that specific source. Right from atheists, there are different types of beliefs. Of course, these beliefs are paving way for them to choose a path of their own so that they can set their mind and proceed in their life. Those whom we call Vaishnavites, they also believe in a very perfect source of knowledge which is called Vedas. Ado Vedaha Pramanam. Vedas talk about the ultimate truths of this universe, which are visible and which are invisible. So we take the Vedic scriptures as authority to decide anything, and that's how they talk. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said in 15th chapter, Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyah Vedanta krit Veda videvacha aham sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishtaha mattaha smrutihi jnanam apohanam cha. This is what he said in the 15th sloka of 15th chapter. He says that Vedaha mameva pratipadayanti. Aham Vedaireva pratipadyaha. Vedaihi aham pratipadya eva. Here in the sloka, the beauty of those words have been expressed in a very wonderful way. The sloka says, Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyah. So all Vedas talk about me. That is what Lord Krishna said. So here, the word eva, which says that alone, is taken to different places. Once it is taken to Vedascha Sarvaihi and added there, Vedascha Sarvaihi Vedaireva Aham Vedyaha, like that. And then it is added to Aham, Vedascha Sarvaihi Ahameva Vedyaha. And then it is added to Vedyaha, Vedascha Sarvaihi Aham Vedya Eva. As this has been organized by the Department of Sanskrit, so I'm sure that all the scholars are able to understand about the power of the Eva, the word Eva, when it is added to Kriya, when it is added to Visheshanam, and when it is added to Visheshyam. So here, it is very clearly mentioned that Vedas talk about an ultimate supreme power who controls this entire universe. What is the name to be given to that? How do we recognize that? This is a question, of course, but for that question, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, showed his universal form, and different things of this universe were also seen in that universal form at different places. So what it says, that the Lord is the supreme power controlling all these animated and inanimated objects of this universe, what called is chetanas and achetanas, the objects with life and objects without life, all this being controlled by that supreme power. But how to name it is where I think probably many schools of thought has come. Name is not specifically we have to assign to that power, but basing on the abilities of the specific power, basing on the activities that power does. According to Sanskrit language, few names have been assigned. Like that power pervades all over. Because it is so pervasive one, the name given to that is Vishnu. Vishal Vyaptau. So because it is a pervasive concept, so the name given as Vishnu. And then another name is given to that. It's not just pervaded, but also it is effulgent. So the name given like Vasu Deva. And not only it is pervaded and also it is effulgent, but it controls everything in all respects. So the name given to that is Narayana. So Naras are all these objects which are lively and non-lively, which will be always there in some form or the other. And Ayana is the supporter of all those things. And that support, how? Again, the Veda comes into picture and describes or decides Antar Bahishya Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. Antar Bahishya Vyapya Yaha Sthitaha Saha Narayanaha. The name given to that is basing on the activity it does, like keeping itself in everything and also keeping everything in it, and then controls everything. So it became Narayana. So the name, whether you call it as a Narayana or you call it a Vishnu, you call it Vasudeva, or give any name in that sense, because Devo Nama Sahasravan, it is said, the thousands and thousands of names can be given depending upon the activity and the ability of that universal power that controls everything. So the one which is taken is Vishnu, all pervading concept. And what does it do? It maintains everything. And how does it do all these things? Feeling a kind of a relationship with all these things. How? It is, as per again, when we go to Bhagavad Gita, and also when we look into Satapatha Brahmana of the Vedas, Sukla Yajurveda, it is said that he pervaded as the inner supporter. The inner supporter is called Atma. And when you call it is Atma, that means wherever he pervaded, it is called Sarira. The inner one is Atma and the outer one is Sarira. So it is said that the concept that controls this entire universe is supporting this as a soul supports the body. In our scriptures, our rishis said, Sarveshameva dharmanam uttamo Vaishnavo vidhihi. The Vaishnava concept is the best one to understand and follow. Asked why? They said, Rakshate Bhagavan Vishnuhu Bhaktan Atma Sarira Vat. So the Lord, the who pervaded all over, protects all these objects as a soul supports the body. So here it is said there is a kind of relationship between the concept that pervaded and the objects where he pervaded. That is called Sarira, Sariri, Sambandha. I mean, all these are like the body, and he as the inner supporter like Atma. So he is Atma and Sarira. So this is a kind of connectivity between God and between the rest of the objects like the nature or the Chetanas, Jivas. So now we love our body, and the body always struggles for the sake of the soul also. Always, whenever there is a pain, whenever there is something hit a part of the body, there the soul makes the rest of the parts to respond for the call of the specific part which met with a trouble. Then all those parts start working to support that defected part and try to make it free from the pain. This most of the times we see. Look, if there is a thorn hit the foot, then it is the eyes shed the tears. It is the mouth that cries or yells for the support, and hands go there and to remove it. So in a body, when a part is suffering, the inner soul inspires the rest of the parts to support that specific part and wants to keep the entire body joyful. If we take this as an analogy, then the one who is a pervaded one all over, or one who said that Aham Atma Gudakesa Sarva Bhuta Asaya Sthitaha, who is indweller of all these Chetanas and Achetanas, who is Antaryami, what we say, and that one, or what we call that Vishnu, he inspires the rest of the parts of the body to support that defected part. This is the concept what probably our great rishis have taken, and this is what probably inspired our alvas, and this is what has been taken by the great Acharya of 11th century, Srimad Ramanuja Swami. So this is what made him to bring out a concept of bhakti. Let us talk about the bhakti just within few moments. What we are talking now is about the indweller, that is Vishnu, who always takes care of the entire universe in which he is pervaded. Of course, if somebody wants to give some other name, it'll be really wonderful. But again, that name should talk about a specific aspect of that God. As per the Vedic rules, it is only one name that talks all aspects, or that covers the entire paradigm of that indweller Lord, that is Narayana. Because the word Narayana is, according to Vyakarana, is so powerful that it talks about the one concept and a very specific concept, the indweller concept, and who is related to the entire universe with all sorts of relationship and supports the entire thing. All the Vedic acharyas, no matter who they are, they have taken this beautiful name right from the first Vedic acharya, Bhagavat Adi Shankaracharya Swami, who took the name Narayana as the ultimate name of God. And even Ramanujacharya, and even Madhvacharya. Of course, there are many other schools of thought who are offshoots of these three acharyas in some way or the other. But when we take the Adi Shankaracharya Swami, who also has taken the name Lord Narayana as the ultimate, but he talked, or he stressed upon the jnana, knowledge part of the Vedas. Whereas Ramanujacharya Swami said that knowledge should be useful when it is ripened. Just like a mango, when it is ripened, then the juice will be so tasty and enjoyable. So also, the jnana must be ripened, and it should be so lucid to give a kind of experience which will be called as bhakti. But how does it ripen? How jnana becomes bhakti? Then it is when we look into the world, whenever we feel a kind of relationship with someone, then we feel a kind of connectivity. When we feel that connectivity, then we feel like doing something to the other person. And even at the cost of our own life. But it depends upon how strong you feel the connectivity. When a mother feels the connectivity with her baby, then she tries to support that baby in all respects possible. She may not be eating the food, but she tries to feed the baby. When a husband or a wife feels the connectivity with the other spouse, then that one tries to do anything for the other person. It is a kind of connectivity and feeling that it is mine. This is what makes the person to do anything for the other one. In Laukika sense, that means in the mundane sense, this is what we call as love. Of course, in English, the love is having very, very limited meaning. But what we are talking about the love is, it, depending upon where it flows, it has different names. See, the same love, when it is towards mother, father, or guru, it is called respect. And when it flows towards the children, it's called just simply love. And when it is towards the same aged people, then we call it is friendship. Or when it is for other small people, then it is affection. So the love has different names, depending upon from where and to where it flows. But when it flows towards the divinity, and then it is called bhakti. But what we need to understand is, wherever it may be flowing to, but the concept of that, what we call the lakshana of that, is the same thing. Like what the Ramanuja Swami has given a definition to the word bhakti, like taila dharavat avichinna smriti santana rupa. Taila dharavat avichinna smriti santana rupa. We know that what does jnanam means. Jnanam is something that starts and passes the samskaras to something else, and then it will be passing to something else, and there is a flow of thoughts. But if the flow of thoughts is uninterrupted and disconnected, and when it is flowing continuously towards the one object, then we call it is love. As the example given is, when we take the honey and then go drop it, then it is just like a string, and it simply flows without any break, unlike water. If we take simple water, then there will be breaks. But if it is oil also, then it is break. But when we take the honey, then it expands like that. So with love, when the flow goes on and on towards some goal, then we call it is love. Even you are engaged in some other activity, but the same thought goes. But if it is towards mundane things, there are different names. But if that flow goes towards God or divinely things, then we call it is bhakti. So when this kind of a bhakti towards that one universal concept, what we call as Narayana, and when we feel that that Narayana is ours, just like the soul feels that body is mine, or the body thinks that I should protect my soul at any cost, then we feel like doing something to that Narayana. So the bhakti towards that Narayana is not just in one aspect like Sarira Sariri, and it is in all respects. That is the beauty of the word Narayana. When we take Nara and Ayana, and when we say it is in Bahuvrihi Samasa, like Naraha Ayanam Yasya Saha, then he is with all respects and with all sorts of relationships with a soul. That means, as a father loves his son, as a mother loves her son, as a wife loves her husband, or husband loves her wife, or as one craving to know something, able to understand is how he loves that known object. And as a protector, when protects someone who is craving for protection, how he will be attached to that. There are 9 sorts of relationship what was talked between the soul and God. Pitacha, Rakshakaha, Seshi, Bharta, Jnaya, Swami, Adharaha, Atma, Bhokta, like that. So when one relationship itself is enough to dedicate everything for the one, and when the soul feels all sorts of relationship towards that indweller, towards that protector, towards that universal power, and he dedicates everything for him, and he lives for that concept. And now Narayana is not just a person. Narayana is not limited to a specific place like Vaikuntha or no, or a temple or to a deity or something like that, because it is antarbahishya tat sarvam vyapya sthitaha khalu. So when he is an all pervasive concept, that means the things that you see all around is nothing but the divine form of that Lord only. This is what Lord Krishna showed in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That means every iota of this universe is nothing but the divine form of that Lord. When you feel so, you feel like finding out where a real need is existing in this universe, because the indweller is invisible, but his divine body is visible. When we love a person and want to garland that person, we are not offering that garland to the indweller. We are offering garland to the body of that Atma only. Similarly, when you feel the presence of Narayana in every object around the whole universe, and you feel that his presence constantly with you, and when you feel so, you feel like taking care of that person. And when you want to do that, you see the other person always feels happy by our services. Love always demands service towards any person, no matter who they are. But love constantly demands a kind of service to the other person. When we love Narayana, we feel like doing a kind of service to that Narayana. But where do we do the service? Wherever there is need. This is what made Ramanujacharya a great Acharya, a great Guru, or a statue of equality, whom Ramanuja thought untouchable in those days, or downtrodden, or probably outcasted. Even those people also nothing but a form of his body, or a part of his divine body. When they are also a part of his divine body, and they are struggling to get something, and they are craving to chant the divine name of the divine Father, the divine God, then why should they be deprived? Unfortunately, the predecessors of Ramanujacharya were not allowing them into the society. And of course, even women also were kept away in chanting the mantra of the Lord. So many other people were deprived of chanting the divine name of that indweller, or what we call as Sarva Vidha Bandhu. Ramanuja thought probably God is not pleased by this kind of act. So let us do something for them. This is what made Ramanuja, first of all, to prove himself. And to prove himself, of course, he studied very hard, and he discussed with people, and he proved his scholarship. And then he proved his ability to become a right Sishya also by approaching the Goshti Purna, who was the master of knowing the real essence of Sarvadharman Parityajya, what we call as Charma Sloka. And then ultimately, he made him understand his concern and then reveal the secret. And of course, he did so. But getting that, Ramanuja thought a great thought should be shared with all, because joy shared is the joy doubled, isn't it? So when I got a joy of understanding the real essence of this, why cannot I share with the whole world? Then he climbed up the tower of the Goshtipuram, and then of course he revealed the meaning of that mantra to all the seekers. Then of course the Guru got upset. We know the story. Guru got upset and said, you crossed my word, and the result would be the worst of the hells. But with all humbleness, Ramanuja Swami asked, what happens if a person understands the relationship between the soul and God and dedicates oneself? The Guru said, of course, it is moksha. So all these people who got it definitely attain the moksha, isn't it? So when it is moksha sure for them, and as a result of my giving to that, if I go to Naraka, I go to hell, it's okay. Bahu santapat eka santapaha varam. This is what Ramanuja thought. And so Guruji understood that. Guruji was convinced. And Guruji embraced Ramanuja and said, you are greater than us. Not only saying that, the Guruji thought, hey Ramanuja, now the world needs your way of thinking, your ideology, not ours. So I dedicate my son also to you. So let him understand this knowledge and become a propagator of this ideology. This is what the Goshti Purna of the day did. So my friends, Vaishnavism is feeling all sorts of relationship with the indweller of this whole universe. And bhakti is an incessant flow of the love, unbreakable flow of the love towards that Lord Narayana, and then doing something for his divine form, that is to this world, wherever there is need, either among human beings, among animals, among other creatures. Because we are not just talking about Vishwa Manava Saubhratritvam. A Vaishnava never talks about Vishwa Manava Saubhratritvam, because Manava is only one creature among many, one object among many. So there are many other objects which form the divine body of that Lord Mahavishnu. The trees, the mountains, the rivers, the wind, the earth, the planet, and everything forms his divine body. Let them be, with life or without life. Just like, in our body, the nails have no life. Cells have the life, but still both form, our body. Similarly, the Chetanas and Achetanas both form the divine body of God. And of course, the Achetanas cannot understand and respond, but the Chetanas, even among the Chetanas, only the human beings will be able to understand and respond. So it is the duty of every human being to respond to the call of God, to respond to take care of the divine form of that universal power that is Lord Narayana, and then start working with it. When you start working with it, then you find that there are different people who are untouchable, who are downtrodden, who are uneducated, who are poor, are deprived of many sorts of things. Then start doing something for them. So Ramanujacharya's heart was bleeding for such kind of people. And then he, of course, came out of the taboos that were laid down by the predecessors, and then gave the divine mantra to the world and served the universe also in all respects possible. So the movement, bhakti movement, what we call, has been initiated by the great Acharya Ramanuja, who felt that relationship and love towards that indweller Narayana. Of course, Ramanujacharya Swami gave all sorts of sources in his concept of bhakti. Later Acharyas like Nimbarka, Ramananda, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swami Narayan, and the recent Acharyas like the Srila Prabhupada Swami, all these as offshoots of that bhakti seed, expanded that in a wonderful way and took it to the nook and corner of the world, and where, of course, they brought many, many people into the fold of the bhakti. That is, they brought them under the umbrella of the bhakti. So it's, of course, very difficult to understand the depth of the word bhakti in total, but still, yes, we tried to give a little glimpse of what it is and how does it work and how Ramanuja did it. Keeping that in view only, Ramanuja Swami said that Parulagil ஆசை உடையோர்க்கெல்லாம் ஆரியர்கள் கூறும் என்று பேசி வரம்பு அறுத்தார் பின் is what a great Acharya called Varavara Muni said about Ramanujacharya. It means across the world, no matter where it is, not just limited to our town or our state or our country, Par Ulagil, crossing all the seas, wherever there are real seekers, Ase Udayork Ellam, hey great Acharyas, reveal this secret and see that they also understand their indweller, Lord Narayana. And then let them also respond. This is what Ramanujacharya made a rule in those days to spread the message across the world. That means he opened the opportunities to everybody, irrespective of their caste, their creed, their race, or their gender. This is what Ramanuja Swami did. And that is what we call equality. Equal opportunities to everybody. Unfortunately, nowadays, many people say that equality means that all should be equal. I'm sure that you understand that never happens. How a black person becomes white and a white person becomes a black, right? And how a tall person becomes short and a short becomes tall. Of course, a heavy person may become slim. That is possible by some sort of exercise or systems or food dietary conditions. Otherwise, these differences cannot be erased. That is not called as equality. Keep opportunities open to everybody. Let him be an urban person or let that person be a rural person. Let him live in the forest. Let him live in the cities. But keep the opportunities open to everybody. Let them put their effort. And however they grow, allow them to grow and reach the heights of excellence. This is the inner concept of equality. This is what Ramanujacharya Swami did. That is the reason why he accepted a downtrodden called Dhanurdasa also as his antarangika person. That means as his intimate devotee. While going to bath to Kaveri, he used to keep his hand on a very well-versed scholar. But while returning from Kaveri after taking bath, and he used to take the support of Dhanurdasa shoulder and used to come back. So people initially did not understand the real heart of Ramanujacharya. But of course, Ramanuja showed it in different ways to make them understand it, after by his acts. That is the reason why our great acharyas accepted even a Harijan, even an untouchable, as one of the alvars, like the Tirupanan. Accepted under a woman also as one of the alvars. Accepted even an outcasted person as an alvar, like Bhakti Saramuni. And of course, there is no barriers between the birth, caste, or the sex. It is the importance is given to the knowledge. It is the respect is for jnana, not to the janma. This happens when you understand that we are all different parts of the same single controller of this universe. That is the all pervasive concept, which according Sanskrit, yet you have to name it as Vishnu only, right? So those who believe in it, they call themselves as Vaishnavas. So, my friends, that we say, the Adi Shankaracharya Swami was a very, very strong Vaishnava. Madhvacharya was a very, very strong Vaishnava. Ramanujacharya Swami is a very, very strong Vaishnava. We, of course, respect the entire body. When you really love a person, you never love the person's eyes or face and eliminate the rest of the body, isn't it? So you love the toes, you love the tip of the hair also. So every part of the person is loved when you love a person in a real sense. Similarly, when you love Lord Vishnu, you love the entire universe, because the entire Jagat Sarvam Sariram Te. This is what is said by the great sages. The entire universe is nothing but his divine form, his divine body. So Ramanujacharya Swamiji taught us to love every part of this universe, every inch of this universe. Some people say loving means, just hugging or keeping it with us. No. Real love makes the object to be in its respective place, in its respective activity. This is what the real love is. When we said this, somebody asked us, Swamiji, you love a lion? You love a tiger? You love a snake also? Equally? We said, yes. Then come on, bring it to your room. Then I said, my friend, loving a tiger doesn't mean bringing it with you, next to you. You will be finished. If you have a real love towards a tiger, let it live in his own way, either in the forest. If it crosses the line of the forest, then keep it in a cage. That is his place. Same with a snake. If you really love a snake, let the snake move in its anthill, because that is its home. And if it crosses that home, or if somebody brings to you, keep it in a basket, because there the basket is its place. That is the real love that one should have. Similarly, in the universe also, when you see the many objects of this universe, real love for us will then be expressed by respecting their own systems according to their own physics. That means water should flow in the rivers. Mountains should be there in their places. Trees must be there in their places. Birds, animals, so also the human beings. This is what Bhagavata says in the story of the king Pruthu. When they lost their systems, it was the king Pruthu who established the places and systems according to their own physics in their own places. This is what Ramanuja Swami talked about equality. So my friends, I think probably I'm taking a lot of time from you, more valuable time. Keeping all these things in view, because the great Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada paved the Vedic way to the universe from the atheist people and cleaned the bushy roads. Ramanujacharya Swami built wonderful structures over that. And then Shankaracharya Swami brought the knowledge into existence, and Ramanujacharya Swami made it ripened as a lucid juice and allowed us to enjoy the juice of it, of those fruits. What we call it as a bhakti. The concept of bhakti is initiated by Ramanujacharya Swami and expanded by the great acharyas till today across the universe. And our pranams to all those great acharyas who are talking about that concept of bhakti, that love towards that universal power called Vishnu and Narayana. And for those great acharyas and the devotees of that Lord Vishnu, the Vaishnava acharyas, we offer always our pranams, and to give us a kind of insight and also to lead us in that path, we need a center of recharging our batteries, for which the Statue of Equality is built in Hyderabad, just next to the airport, at the height of 216 feet. Many people asked us, why that much of a height? It is so simple. We have to grow to that height. We all should raise to that height of Ramanujacharya in understanding the inner concept of Vishnu, and also in following the concept of equality by bhakti, by love towards that Vishnu. This is the ultimate aim in creating the structure. And of course, it is still has to take so many forms. And very recently, it has been dedicated to the world of devotees. And we invite you all to be a part of that. And also, please take a little time out of your busiest academic schedule and visit Hyderabad. But before visiting, please give a message to us, inform us, so that we also will be there to receive you and to take you to have the darshan of Ramanuja and to get his blessings and to outpour our love towards that Lord Vishnu. Our Mangala Shastranams to all of you, the great Vaishnava devotees who participated in this beautiful conference. And please pardon us if we have taken a lot of time from you all. Jai Sriman Narayana. Esha Sridharji or Shakuntalaji?
Yes, thank you, Swamiji, for your profound speech. Swamiji has explained the fundamentals of Bhakti and Vaishnavism in a very lucid manner by citing various illustrations and stories. And not only that, Swamiji also followed the scholarly method. He cited various references from Vedic literature. He cited the very definition of Bhakti, which is equivalent to dhyana and jnana as well, which is given by Ramanujacharya. Dhyanam cha taila dharavat avichinna smriti santana rupam. Citing this definition of bhakti given by Ramanujacharya, Swamiji explained that there is concomitant relation between the love and the service. So love calls for service, not only the service of God, but of the humankind, human being, because it is deeply rooted in the philosophy of Ramanujacharya. Yasya Prithvi Shariram, the entire universe is the body of the God. Swamiji explained why Ramanuja is called as great Acharya. He redefined the concept of equality, how we should understand the concept of equality in the modern era, how Ramanuja started and propagated the Bhakti movement. He liberated the path of moksha, irrespective of any caste, creed, and gender. So with this message, Chinajiyar Swamiji has literally enlightened us. And it was worth to listen all these like Bhakti, Vaishnavism, the meaning of Narayana, the meaning of love, service, devotion, etc. from a true devotee of Narayana, from a practitioner of the devotion. So we are very thankful, Swamiji, for your brilliant speech. We are really thankful, and thank you for your kind invitation as well. We all look forward to it. Thank you.
Yes,
Unmute me. Unmute me.
You are unmuted, Sridharji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swamiji. I would like to, two things were there. One is for Ranganayaki, when she brought all the four alvas together. I remembered of one shloka which tells about the four Divya Deshams. Shri Ranga Mangalanigim Karunavilasam, Shri Hastishaira Sumanojjvala Padijatam, Shri Venkatadri Talamegam, Shri Sham Namami Yadushaidanakam. Shri Kanchi, Shri Rangam, then Shri Kanchi, that is Hastigiri, Shri Pati at Tirumala, and Yadavagiri. All the four Divya Kshetrams I remembered by the four alvas. And when Swamiji was telling about Jeshriman Narayana, Swamiji was telling us about Shankara Bhagavat Pada. So I remember what Acharya had told in his Prashnotara Ratna Malika. Muktim labate kasma mukunda bhakti mukundaha kaha yasma yaha tarayet avidya kacha avidya yat atmanu asmurtihi. And he further elaborates and he says in his Brahmanu Chintanam, Ahameva Parabrahma Vasudevakyam Avyayam iti syad nishchito mukto baddhaha eva anyatha bhavet. If you think that I am eva Vasudeva Parabrahma, then you are mukta, otherwise you are always baddha. Thank you so much, Swamiji. And now I request our friend Dr. Ferdinando Serradella, Associate Professor, Stockholm University, our co-host from Sweden, to please express his views. Forward to Dr. Ferdinando Serradella.
Thank you so much. Dear professors, lecturers, PhD students, and dear guests, the International Conference on Bhakti in Vaishnava Traditions is close to the end. I would like to say a few words about one point of the conference topic. Vaishnavism in India is academically still weak in terms of philosophy, theology, sociology, etc. Hinduism is an umbrella with many currents under, of which Vaishnavism is a very large part of it. So we hope that in the future we can see some development about Vaishnavism. I would like to thank all speakers for wonderful contributions, the interesting questions and answers as well. And I look forward to future conferences about Vaishnavism and Bhakti as an important academic field. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah, Ferdinand Saradella, for it is said, Vadanam Prasada Sadanam Sadayam Hridayam Sudha Mucho Vasaka. The Indians are very happy. And definitely the seeds of Vaishnavism, the seeds of Bhakti are definitely sown. And that is why you can see the Srimad Ramanuja rising high above our temples are the witness to this. Thank you so much. I now request Dr. Shakuntala Gowde Madam to welcome our special invitees, Dr. Rajesh Kharat Sir, Dean, Humanities, University of Mumbai. Madam, please welcome.
I welcome Professor Rajesh Kharat, Dean, Humanities, University of Mumbai. And we are really happy, sir, that you are present in the valedictory session of the international seminar on Bhakti in Vaishnava tradition. So sir has really encouraged us in all our activities, and in spite of his busy schedule, he joined for this program today. And we would really like to hear some of his views about this conference and in general about the Bhakti in Vaishnava tradition. So, Namo Namah, sir, and we request to hear from you.
I now request Dr. Rajesh Kharat Sir to address us. Sir.
Namaste. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this very important event initiated by the Department of Sanskrit, University of Mumbai. I also express sincere thanks to the colleagues and the head, Dr. Shakuntala Gowde Madam, for arranging this program and the Vedanta Institute. There are many other institutions are involved along with the Stockholm University, Sweden. I welcome once again them. As far as my views are concerned, based on the presentations which are made since yesterday, I may not say anything different from what you have said. Although I have seen the catalog and I have seen the contained paper, and I was listening Swamiji also. So based on those things, I thought I can flag some issues which I think may be helpful for the younger generation. How the tradition of the Bhakti through the Vaishnava tradition is being carried out by all these things, Solomon people, because it's not only what they're wearing, what they're saying, it's not only about the spirituality, but also more than the spirituality. You can see the modern world, which is basically full of the multiculturalism. Within that multiculturalism, the tradition of a Bhakti, tradition of Vaishnava is being still protected and carried forward by these people. So young generation, I think, should consider how this spirituality or how this tradition can be used for the personality development. Once the personality development is developed, automatically the society also get involved into that, imbibing this spirituality culture, which I think is missing in these days, maybe too much mechanical, too much materialized world. So in this physical, the materialized world, you can see the role of the spirituality, which is being discussed. This is a one. Secondly, as far as the education is concerned, I think this matter of the spirituality or Bhakti Vedanta is missing somewhere in the curriculum. Recently, I think there was a proposal for having the content of the Bhagavad Gita in the various schools and colleges. So not going abide by all these things, but at least the tradition of spirituality and bhakti is very, very important at the level of the from 5th standard to the 10th standard. Once the foundation is laid down by the spirituality and bhakti vedanta, you can carry forward in the next college or +2 level, and then one can do specialization like Stockholm University is one of the university. Beside that, Denmark is also, I think Malmo there is one of the university where the Danish lady who is working on this area. Then also in Germany, there are many people who are working on the Bhakti Vedanta. So these institutions which are working internationally for professing the Bhakti Vedanta and the spirituality should be encouraged, having the collaborative activities, having the research projects. Since I am from Pune and I could see the Deccan College in close to my house, and Deccan College also does so many activities, these kind of things. And then we have also ISKCON temples all around the places in India, outside also. So can we have a collaborative activities, not only the University of Mumbai, but also many other institutions within Maharashtra, within India, where we can have a joint projects, joint research activities, how one can take ahead the content, how it is useful not only for the foreign policy, but the diplomacy or the regular public policy, public distribution system, economic policy, all these policies which are pertinent to the government of India, the bhakti and the tradition of the spirituality can really galvanize the policies of government of India, so that everybody can learn something from these activities. These are the few things which I wanted to say, not more than this, because I'm not really expert, but this is a layman's views about this whole tradition. Thank you once again for inviting me and allowing me to share few thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words and suggestions. I think we all should work in this direction, that bhakti is not the limiting perspective, but it opens the path of interdisciplinary studies as well as peaceful coexistence in the society. So we should now broaden our viewpoint to see at the word bhakti. This was the very actually objective for organizing such a conference, because we conduct a course on Bhakti literature, certificate course in Bhakti literature and diploma course in Bhakti literature. So when we used to get inquiries for this course, often students and not only students, but people used to ask us that what can be taught in Bhakti. This Bhakti is taken as definitely a practice, and how Bhakti can be taught. So I have to always explain that it should be also understood from the academic perspective. We should have the right perspective to know the bhakti, because there are many misconceptions about the word bhakti, and it is always sometimes stuck in the rituals, but many people are not aware about the meaning of those rituals, the philosophy behind bhakti. So this was a very objective, and I think with this conference, organization of this conference has taken this objective forward across the globe, I must say. And this will give us some momentum, definitely it will give us a way to spread this message further and to bring bhakti religious studies in the academic perspective, in the academics.
Shakuntala ji, can I say something, please?
Yes, sir. Please. Yes,
Rajesh ji, for you also. As per our Constitution, Article 30 and 30A, there is a prohibition to teach any kind of religious or spiritual topics in academic courses. Whereas for Christians and Islamic people, there is a provision to start any kind of their religious education in the academic syllabus. So it's actually, the problem came from the Constitution itself. So as Article 370 has been eliminated recently by our Prime Minister Modi ji, similarly, the Article 30 and 30A should also be eliminated. Then only just we can talk about introducing the spiritual or philosophical or religious courses in our academic institutions. Maybe it is in the universities or in the schools, anywhere. So on the behalf of all of us, probably if you make a recommendation to the government or to the Prime Minister to work on Article 30 and 30A in allowing our institutions or those who are interested in teaching the spiritual and religious or philosophical courses in their institutions. I think probably this is where we have to work. Till then, whatever we say, it only becomes, just for the sake of discussion. Thank you. Jai Shriman Narayana.
Jai Shriman Narayana.
Thank you.
I request Madam Shakuntala, Dr. Shakuntala, to welcome our Pro Vice Chancellor. He is present.
I think Pro Vice Chancellor Sir has not joined yet due to some meeting, but he will definitely speak when he joins. So we can go for the speech of Dr. Itamar Theodore.
Before I go, let me add to what Professor Dr. Rajesh Karat has said. And I'm very happy to add to that. Satyam tapo jnanam ahimsata cha vidvat pramanam cha sushilata etaniyo dharayati sa vidwan na kevalam ya patet sa vidwan. Thank you so much, sir. I hope this Subhashita resonates your thoughts.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request our guest of honor, a special invitee from Israel. This is not only our nation is going, academics are also going, India and Israel are coming closer, still closer. Dr. Itamar Theodore, Associate Professor of Hindu Studies at Zefat Academic College, Safi, Israel, and also the Chair of Department of Mysticism and Spiritual. Dr. Theodore is a graduate of the Theology Faculty, University of Oxford, and a lifetime member, I repeat, and a lifetime member of Clare Hall, University of Cambridge. His publications include Exploring the Bhagavad Gita, Philosophy, Structure and Meaning in 2010. Brahman and Tao, Comparative Studies in Indian and Chinese Philosophy in 2014. The fifth Veda in Hinduism, Philosophy, Poetry and Devotion in Bhagavata Purana. And the list is long, including, Sir's recent publication, that is in 2021, is Bhagavad Gita, a critical introduction, which was recently published. So, but Sir believes that words speak more than this list of propagation. In abidance to Sir's wish, I now ask Sir himself to express his divine bliss in his nectarine, that is Amritavak. Welcome, Sir.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me well? You see me well? Everything is okay? Thank you.
Yes.
So I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of this wonderful conference, to the University of Mumbai, University of Stockholm, Bhaktivedanta Research Center. It's a wonderful conference. I've been following that conference almost since the beginning, and thank you so much for organizing this conference and for having invited me. I heard the wonderful lecture by Shivatsa Goswami 2 days ago. And Shivatsa Goswami was talking of his exchange with Daya Krishna, the famous Indian philosopher, about the philosophy of bhakti. And Daya Krishna said, why not articulate the philosophy of bhakti now? In other words, in contemporary terms. So my paper is perhaps in this category. And what I'm trying to do is to articulate the philosophy of bhakti. So that will be my paper. My full paper
is too long. It's about 8,000 words long, but I will try to give a condensed form of that paper. I don't know if I'll cover everything, but things will come up. In general, I analyze the Bhagavata Purana, but I also try to analyze the concept of personalism, because I think that to really understand bhakti, one would have to understand a personalism. Anyhow, I'm going to share screen so you can follow. My accent is not always very clear, so I want you to be able to see on the screen my paper as I read it, and I hope that everything works well. So now I've shared the screen, and I hope that you can see it. So the title is Constructing the Aesthetic Self of the Bhagavata Purana. The Bhagavata Purana is a Sanskrit Purana considered to be one of the most sacred texts for some of the major Vaishnava denominations. It contains 335 chapters. It is approximately 1414 verses long, and it propounds the divinity of Krishna, a theme expressed in a rather personal manner. The Bhagavata Purana combines Vedantin philosophy, dramatic and aesthetic elements, and personal expressions in a unique manner, so much so that it is considered to be one of the foremost Hindu scriptures. The question of selfhood seems to be a major topic in the Bhagavata Purana, and it deserves a closer study. As such, it may be worthwhile to look closer into the process of its formation. In examining the association of the young Bhakti movement with the Upanishadic tradition, represented in abundance in the Bhagavata Purana, it may well be that the newly established Bhakti movement was in need of obtaining a legitimate and orthodox position, and consistent effort was being made to place it in the Brahminic tradition. In the labors of Natamuni, Yamuna, and Ramanuja, a consistent effort to promote the Sanskritization of the Bhakti religion can be observed. As such, the young and popular Bhakti movement had associated itself with the ancient and respectable Upanishadic tradition. However, it seems that considering the Bhagavata Purana to represent merely the combination of the Upanishadic and Bhakti tradition is not enough. Is it possible that such a complex, sophisticated, and theologically significant text would on the one hand treat the orthodox sources with such a profound level of scholarship by writing the entire text in a Vedic archaic style, and then present its main thesis of devotion, total devotion, in a rather simplistic, naive, and legendary style? Do the Upanishadic sources make any contribution to the Bhagavad Purana's philosophical thesis and theme of bhakti, or are they implicitly referred to merely for the purpose of legitimizing the new emotional tradition? Does the Bhagavad Purana's poetic style indicate the amalgamation of an orthodox aesthetic theory? And is it possible that this orthodox aesthetic tradition merged with the orthodox philosophical tradition, thus furthering the formation of a new concept of bhakti? Is it possible that in its passion for Vedism, the Bhagavata Purana absorbed not only an archaic language style in Upanishadic philosophy, but also a Vedic aesthetic tradition? If the Bhagavata Purana has indeed absorbed this Vedic aesthetic tradition, could it be that adopting it served the purpose of reconciling the two aspects of the Supreme, the personal and the impersonal, and emphasizing their unity as ultimately one conception, coexisting in harmony, as opposed to perceiving the two as conflicting ideologies, a concept which apparently developed only much later? It may well be that in absorbing Vedic elements, the Bhagavata Purana absorbed not only an archaic Sanskrit style and Upanishadic discourses, but another, second, orthodox Brahminical tradition, which is the Rasa aesthetic school originating in Bharat. As such, its unique flavor or genre emerges from its being rooted in both traditions. Phelan Hardy points to the Bhagavad Purana's attempt to syncretize Northern and Southern culture and ideology, and highlights its application of Vedic symbols for the purpose of integration. Moreover, he considers the Bhagavad Purana to be unique and to stand quite apart from other Puranas, by being an opus universale, by attempting to encompass everything. Could it be possibly be that in attempting to encompass everything, northern and southern, and being of great aesthetic and poetic sensibility, it has assimilated the classical aesthetic tradition originating from Bharat, which is considered traditionally to have a Vedic origin, descending from the god Brahma. Considering the Bhagavad Purana's nature as an opus universale and its passion for orthodox ingredients, it would have been surprising had this not happened. In other words, it may well be that the northern Sanskritic culture had made not only an ideological contribution accompanied by a social system, but an aesthetic contribution by which the rasa theory became one of the Bhagavad Purana's building ingredients. Having argued for the rasa school to constitute one of the Bhagavad Purana's building ingredients, we may now look at the construction of selfhood and personhood in the Hindu context and suggest that rasa indeed has a major role in the construction of the notion of personhood underlying the Bhagavad Purana. As the Bhagavad Purana is engaged with divine personhood, whether personal or impersonal, we may briefly examine the term person in its Hindu context. Attempting to articulate notion of personhood within Hinduism, one faces a translation problem, as the term person is a somewhat Western imposition on Indian culture. The uncertain status of the notion of person in India is conditioned by the fact that it is a foreign to the Sanskrit tradition and has no adequate rendering in any of the Sanskritic languages. When dealing with either the human being or the deity, Indian philosophy always worked with other concepts, which rarely imported the holistic signification of person. As the term person has no adequate rendering in any of the Sanskritic languages, various terms such as Atman, Purusha, Jiva, Ishvara, Bhagavan, Avatara, and Murti are used to denote both human and divine persons within various contexts. The translators of Sanskrit works in the late 19th century translated the term Nirguna and Saguna Brahman as impersonal and personal Brahman. Other terminology used by them was to refer to Nirguna Brahman as the absolute and to Saguna Brahman or Ishvara as God. Underlying this obscure usage of terms was the assumption that the Hindu personal notions were not absolute. Against this background, it becomes understandable that the question of personhood in Indian thought has become far too complex and obscure to be dealt with beyond the constraints of modern humanism. Having briefly touched upon the complexity of the usage of this term in the Indian context, we may now mention three such notions intrinsic to the Hindu Orthodox tradition. These are the humanistic self of Mimamsa, the solitary self of Sankhya, and the transcendental self of Vedanta. I believe that another, a fourth notion of personhood has to be articulated for a better understanding of the Bhagavata Purana. And this notion may be referred to as the aesthetic self of the Bhagavata Purana. According to this notion, personhood is defined through an aesthetic sensitivity and an emotional depth. And as such, the deeper one's aesthetic sensitivity and emotional experience of the Supreme are, the more he is able to express his or her personhood. This concept emerges out of two traditions, the Vedanta and the Rasa aesthetic. It adopts the Vedantic notion of moksha, as well as the aesthetic principle of tasting rasa. Similar to the Vedanta tradition, which has been split between the Vivarta and Parinama views, the Rasa tradition has also been split between these two views. Similar to Ramanuja and Madhva's views, the aesthetic person of the Bhagavad Purana is also grounded in the Parinama point of view, and as such sees emotions not as false, but as an underdeveloped form of pure emotions or rasa. Moreover, it views the essential self, whether it is the Purusha of the Sankhya tradition or the Atman of the Vedanta tradition, as personal and not as merely pure consciousness. Similar to the Vedanta tradition, it indeed aspires to achieve moksha. However, it aspires to achieve this not through knowledge or jnana, rather through experiencing rasa. And the experience of pure rasa becomes its means to achieve moksha. This experience is dualistic in that rasa is experienced an exchange between two persons, the minute person and the supreme person, who according to the Bhagavad Purana is Vasudev Krishna. As the aesthetic self of the Bhagavad Purana is distinctly personal, a deeper look into the personal and impersonal concepts of the absolute and their relations to the rasa tradition may be in place. It seems that in earlier times, the Indian tradition has been more flexible regarding the question of the apparent conflict between the personal and impersonal concepts of the absolute. However, this question gradually rose to the surface and towards the end of the first millennium occupied a major place. As such, the polarization among the Vedantin sects represents by divergence into Shankara's and Ramanuja's theological positions, or between the Vivartavadins and Parinamavadins, is one of the major characteristics of medieval Indian philosophy. On the one hand, it represents the development of the doctrine of illusion, while on the other hand, it represents the development of its opposing view, i.e. philosophy of personal theism. Interestingly, this controversy concerning the nature of the ultimately real and its relation to the world existed not only in the Vedanta tradition, but in the rasa aesthetic tradition as well. In this regard, writes David Haberman, and I quote, one group, the Parinamavadins, represented here by Bhoja and Vishwanath, maintain that the world is a transformation or development, parinama, of ultimate reality, Brahman. Whereas the second group, Vivartavadins, represented here by Abhinavagupta, hold that the world is a false appearance, Vivarta, of ultimate reality. The Parinamavadins use the simile of the production of curds from milk to explain the existence of the world, whereas Vivartavadins favor the analogy of a rope being mistaken for a snake to explain the world's false existence. The perspectives of these two schools on the evaluation of aesthetic experience are clear. Parinamavadins see a developmental relationship existing between art, rasa, and the world, Sai Bhava. Ordinary emotions are simply an underdeveloped form of rasa. The Vivartavadins, on the other hand, insist that there is no direct correspondence between art, rasa, and the world's Sai Bhava. Art totally transcends the emotional experience of everyday life, end quote. Although aesthetics seem at first to differ from Vedanta, we have returned to the core issues debated among Vedantists, such as the realism or idealism of the world, as seen through a discussion of aesthetics. The Vivartavadins insist that the emotions experienced here in the world are illusory and unessential, and must therefore be given up. Contrary to that, the Parinamavadins hold the view that ordinary emotions experienced in this world are but an underdeveloped form of pure emotions or rasas. As mentioned, being applied to the rasa tradition, this polemic took a form different than it has taken in the Vedanta tradition. Here the discussion focused on the nature of rasa. This is indeed important for understanding the formation of Bhagavata Purana and the way it expresses divine personhood. As such, in order to focus on the differences between the two approaches of Abhinavagupta and Bhoja, a comparison of three key issues will be made and its implications highlighted. The issues are: 1, the location of rasa; 2, the ontological status of emotions; and 3, the supreme rasa. It seems that whereas Abhinava's position clearly supports the impersonal position, Bhoja's position clearly supports the personal one. So the first one is the location of rasa. I'm now comparing between two approaches of the rasa theory, which I argue underlie the conception of personhood in the Bhagavata Purana. Rasa theorists have been divided on the question of who can experience rasa. Although there is an agreement that during a dramatic performance, the audience may experience rasa under suitable conditions, there are differing opinions on the question, can the actor experience rasa too? Abhinavagupta refuses to grant the aesthetic experience rasa to the actor, as the actor is too involved. Thus, in his system, it is only the spectator who experiences rasa. According to Bhoja, Though every cultured individual, Rasika, can experience rasa, the condition of one's inner nature and his mature emotional condition is the determinate factor, regardless of whether the person is a spectator, the poet, or the actor. I believe that this is the way in which the Bhagavad Purana was traditionally understood, as a liberating drama meant to release the audience who are in the position of participant observers from samsara. Second point of comparison, the ontological status of emotions. Regarding the ontological status of emotions, Abhinava's position is that the sthai bhava or primary emotion is worldly, whereas rasa is not of this world and therefore exists only in art. Whereas the sthai bhava is the experience of the unconscious latent emotional expressions rising to consciousness in the world of everyday life. Rasa is the experience of the unconscious latent emotional impressions rising to consciousness in the controlled and impersonal environment of the theater, and can therefore be tasted only there. For Bhoja, the relations between the sthai bhava and rasa are developmental. The example he gives are the production of juice from sugarcane, oil from sesame, butter from curds, and fire from wood. Therefore, for him, both sthai bhava and rasa are fundamentally the same nature, but represent different stages of evolution. The implication is that when the Supreme Person appears in his avatar forms, those who feel for him, and even those who don't encounter him directly, but hear of him through the Bhagavad Purana with an open heart, all experience various emotions towards him. These emotions may represent various degrees of clarity, but they are nevertheless essential and real. When purified and sublimated by hearing the Bhagavad Purana, they turn into rasas and carry the devotee to the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha, where they can be experienced in a pure and intense form. Therefore, the reading of the Bhagavad Purana, according to Bhoja's Parinamavadin's position, seems to fit the logic underlying the Bhagavad Purana. The third point of comparison, the supreme rasa. We can now look closer at the question, what is the supreme rasa according to the two positions? Abhinava considers the essential self, namely the Atman, to consist of Sat, Chit, Ananda, and to be devoid of enjoyment of objects external to it. Therefore, the state of experiencing the 8 rasas is a state in which the Atman, the essential self, which is unchanging by nature, is still clouded by some illusory variety and distinctness. However, being in its original and pure position of true knowledge, it experiences the bliss of Brahman through Shanta rasa. In other words, according to Abhinavagupta, Shanta rasa represents the Atman's essential position. In considering Bodhi's position, it is to be noted that the various emotions all produce rasas. These seem to pertain to the essential self and to be experienced in the Atman's pure and original state. I suppose the position of Abhinavagupta, Bodhi's position, is that the Atman maintains a sense of ego or personal identity in its original and pure state, too. This is corroborated by the Vaishnava position of the self maintaining a sense of personal identity even in the liberated state or in Vaikuntha, and experiencing in that state a variety of emotions. Once this emotional reality is established as essential, Bhoja proceeds to analyze it and resolves that Shringara or Prema represents the ultimate rasa, or the Atman's purest state. If the Atman, in its liberated state, lives in the variegated world of Vaikuntha and exchanges various worshipful relations with the Supreme Person, it may well be that according to Bhoja, love is the highest form of exchange with the Supreme Person. Bhoja's position supports two of the Bhagavad Purana's central themes. First, it rationalizes why the Rasa Lila episode reigns supreme, as according to Bhoja's Shringara or Prema reigns supreme. The Rasa Lila episode expressing amorous relations, the Supreme, is considered to be the Bhagavad Purana's peak. Second, it supports the idea of maintaining a personal identity after achieving the liberated state. According to Bhoja, all rasas are based on a permanent ego, and as this ego is permanent and not to be not lost at the liberated state, it is possible for the Atman or the minute person to continue and exchange rasas with the Supreme Person. after achieving the liberated state. This is the central idea found in the Bhagavad Purana. According to the world of Vaikuntha is depicted as variegated and full of personal expressions. To the contrary, Abhinava's idea of the Atman being devoid of enjoyment and being representative of Shantarasa in its pure form does not seem to underlie the Bhagavad Purana. It deprives the Rasa Lila episode of its supreme position and excludes the Atman from having a sense of permanent ego after liberation. Therefore, it seems that it is again Bodha's position underlying the Bhagavata Purana. In summary of this section, Abhinava Gupta held Shantarasa to be supreme as its corresponding emotional state of mind is similar to the state of relaxed individual consciousness of one who aspires to attain oneness with Brahman. Bhoja, however, held Shringara Rasa to be supreme as its corresponding state of mind is similar to the state of intense individual consciousness of one who aspires to experience deep love for a personal God. The outcome of the integration of the Rasa school with Vedantin school is the Bhagavad Purana's underlying structure, which is comprised of a systematic sequence of notions of divine personhood, gradually leading the devotee reader deeper and deeper into the realm of aesthetic personhood of the Bhagavata Purana. As the point of convergence of equating the aesthetic experience of Shantaras with the realization of Nirvishesha Brahman, we may elaborate this point. In general, this paper considers the Bhagavad Purana structure according to Rupa Goswami's typology, in regards to which writes Herman. The particular typology of religion Rupa presents in the Bhagavati Rasamrita Sindhu, utilizes all the aesthetic components of the classical tradition. Accordingly, Rupa articulates this theory which intertwines theology with aesthetics. This theory enables the understanding of the sections depicting non-duality in a non-Advaitin way, i.e. simultaneously representing both the state of Brahman realization and the state of Shantaras. In regards to Shantaras, writes Haberman, Rupa represents the resulting emotional experience bhava as being somewhat similar to the joy of yogis. Shiva glosses the joy of the yogis as an experience of the unqualified absolute reality Nirvishesha Brahman. However, the object of the yogi's quest is said to be the self, Atman, whereas the object of Vishaya of the rasa is the Lord Isha. In regards to Shantaras, writes Rupa Goswami himself, Hari is a substantial excitant and has the following qualities. He is concentrated form of being, consciousness, and bliss, Sachita Ananda, the crest jewel of the pleasure of the self, Atma Rama Mishromani, the highest self, Paramatma, the highest reality, Parabrahman, tranquil, patient, pure, self-restraint. This well exemplifies Rupa's view of Nirvishesha Brahman as a substantial existent of the Shantarasa. An example of Bhagavad Purana is referring to the Supreme as Nirvishesha Brahman may be quoted. And I skip this quote because time is running. Return to the Bhagavad Purana structure, the Vedantin influence is expressed in that the notions of divinity represent the Supreme Brahman, the highest reality, and the non-dual absolute. The Rasa school influence is expressed in that notions of divinity evoke an emotional reality, leading or inviting the Bhagavad Purana's hearer into higher and higher, or deeper and deeper states of aesthetic awareness of the divine. The development of the notions is represented by an increase in their aesthetic qualities, manifesting through the parameters of intensity and complexity. The Bhagavad Purana serves as a meeting place between the impersonal and personal conceptions of Brahman and reconciles the two seemingly opposing concepts. On the one hand, it contains the realization of impersonal Brahman, which is the highest possible concept to be articulated by knowledge or jnana. On the other hand, realization of impersonal Brahman, when seen from an aesthetic point of view, represents an emotional or aesthetic experience of the absolute through Shantaras. In this sense, the Bhagavata Purana reconciles the two seemingly conflicting ideology, i.e. the personal and impersonal realization of the absolute, and presents them as two aspects of the same truth. Brahman can be viewed as abstract and impersonal, And the same Brahman can carry the taste of eternity through Shanta Rasa, when the same Brahman becomes further realized through a growing aesthetic awareness. It becomes manifested as a personhood expressed in aesthetic terms. That personal manifestation, which is first vague and remote, becomes gradually closer, more complex, and more intense, and evokes higher and higher rasas. Krishna's personality, as appearing in the four chapters engaged with Rasa Lila, represents the aesthetic climax of the Bhagavad Purana. In this way, the Bhagavad Purana maintains a balanced position which allows both conceptions of the absolute, the personal and the impersonal, to intertwine and to develop on their own ground. And so it satisfies various types of readers. In other words, those who are inclined towards the impersonal conception relate more to the Advaitin trend within the Bhagavad Purana, whereas those who seek a more personal and emotional experience with the Supreme find that in abundance within the text. Seen from the aesthetic point of view, the Vedantin philosophical assertions stimulate further emotions and therefore support the rasa personal trends. In other words, the idea that it is the Supreme Brahman himself who is crawling in Yashoda's yard serves to intensify devotional emotions towards baby Krishna. Seen from the philosophical point of view, the rasa trend expands the philosophical horizons of the text, and the Supreme Brahman is not confined just to the impersonal realm, but pervades the personal and aesthetic realm as well. In developing the theme of personal divinity, the Bhagavad Puranas first equates the experience of knowing impersonal Brahman with Shantaras. Thence, a further progress is made from that state towards higher states of realization, realizing or tasting the Supreme through servitude, realizing also the Supreme through friendship, realizing the Supreme through parental affection, and ultimately realizing the Supreme through romantic love. The progress is not philosophical one, rather it is a progress of an increased aesthetic and personal awareness. That same divinity, which appears at first to be utterly impersonal, gradually starts manifesting personal characteristics, and devoted reader becomes aware of the divine presence in a more personalized way. Thus, in his progress towards personal awareness, he may first become conscious of the divine as an enormous cosmic person present everywhere and in everything gross or subtle. At the next stage, the devout reader internalizes this conception and finds the divine in a personal form in his own heart. Both of these states representing mainly the emotional state of Shanta, as they are serene and tranquil and don't involve much relationship with the divine or other than quiet contemplation. The text then progresses further to present notions more personalized and more specific, which comprise the main topic of the Bhagavad Purana, the avatars. These are personified divine forms which display a variety of qualities. They have specific forms, some human, while others non-human. They have purposes to fulfill, personal characters. They evoke various kinds of feelings, play role models, and divinize history. The reader who hears of these avatars develops an increasing awareness of divine personhood, expressed mainly through dasya. In other words, observing or hearing about the lila or cosmic play of these avatars fosters a service attitude towards that deity. For the hearer to fully experience the particular emotion, he must actually be in a state of mind corresponding to the particular deity's nature. For example, when hearing about an avatar, the hearer would have to identify himself as a servant of that deity in order to fully experience the corresponding emotions, which would naturally be in the category of dasya rasa. And this is the end. The text takes a dramatic turn in the 10th canto, often considered the heart of the Bhagavad Purana, where notions evoking Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya are presented, thereby leading the Bhagavad Purana to its theological climax in the Rasa Lila section of the 10th book. This way, the text presents notions of divine personhood, an understanding or appreciation of which requires the listener to be in the mood of Sakya, or to feel friendship of divine. Being in that mood furthers the emotional awakening of the spectator, where he experiences more refined and intense emotions towards the divine. These intensify and become finer while ascending to the Vatsalya Rasa and the peak of the revelation of the divine through Shingara Rasa. So I end here, stop here, and Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe it was very condensed, but okay, let's see. I stop you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Theodore. I am reminded from again being a Shankara Vedantin, I am reminded to quote what Acharya Bhagavad Shankara had said. Sthula Sukshma Cheti Dveda Haribhakti Ruddhishta. Sthula Sukshma Chaiti Dveda Haribhakti Ruddhishta. Prarambhe Sthula Syat Sukshma Tasyaha Sakashacha. प्रारंभे स्थूला स्यात् सूक्ष्मा तस्याः साकाश्च एवं कुर्वती भक्तिं कृष्णकटानुग्रहोत्पन्ना समुदेति सूक्ष्म भक्तिर्यथा हरिरि अंतर्विशति एवं कुर्वती भक्तिं कृष्णकटानुग्रहोत्पन्ना समुदेति सूक्ष्म भक्तिर्यस्य हरिः अंतर आविशति. Let that Hari enter into us. And thank you so much. Once again, I thank on behalf of the Department of Sanskrit, the Stockholm University, and Bhakti Vedanta Research Center. And before I sign out, myself, Dr. Sridhar Vasudevan, myself, Dr. Iyer Sridhar Vasudevan Bhavani. Let me conclude with a Bharata Vakya. Let me quote before Madam Shakuntala proposes the final vote of thanks. Okay. The Bharatavakyam is as such. Buddhim cha vardhayati shriyam vitanute vaidadyam amunchati. Vaidadyam amunchanti shreyah pallavayati agan dalayati unvilayati unnati. Shreyah pallavayati agan dalayati unvilayati unnati. विज्ञानं परिशोधयति उपचिनोति उच्चैः कला कौशलम्. विज्ञानं परिशोधयति उपचिनोति उच्चैः कला कौशलम्. किं किं न आरभते हरेरिव कथा आज्यस्सतां संगति. धन्यवादः. I thank everybody for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much. Over to you, Madam Shakuntala.
Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Sakshine Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Namah Sankarshanaya Cha. I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks for 3-day international conference on Bhakti in Vaishnava traditions. First of all, I thank the chief guest of today's valedictory function, Chinnaji R. Swamiji, for his enlightening valedictory address. His address has redefined concepts like equality, Vaishnavism, and Bhakti. His very appearance inspires us to walk on the path of Bhakti and service. So thank you, Swamiji, for accepting our invitation and enlightening us with the brilliant speech. I thank Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni, for support and encouragement. I thank Honorable Professor Rajesh Kharat, Sir, Dean Humanities, for gracing this occasion for valedictory session and sharing his valuable inputs. I extend my vote of thanks to keynote speaker Srivatsa Goswamiji for providing the framework of Bhakti and with special reference to Braja Vaishnavism. I also thank Professor Gopal Gupta, who inaugurated this conference with his profound and methodical speech on Bhagavata and Bhagavad Gita. I thank respected chairperson of all the sessions, Dr. Gauri Mahulikar, Dr. Nirmala Kulkarni, and Dr. Kala Acharya for their scholarly remarks over each paper. I thank all scholars who presented papers in this conference, Dr. S. Padmanabhan, Dr. Ranganayaki, Dr. Abhishek Bose, Dr. Siddhartha Satpathy, Dr. Kiyokazu Okita, Prakriti Goswami, Dr. Purnima Dave, Dr. Madhavi Narsale, Dr. Prasad Kolkar, and Dr. Sriram Iyer. All speakers have unfolded different dimensions of Bhakti in Vaishnava tradition. So we realize that though there may be some different specifications in each text or in each cult, some fundamentals of bhakti cannot change. They are eternal. And the principle of bhakti is not only applicable to the purpose of religion or spirituality, but it is applicable in our life, in our the overall, the karmans which we are doing, the action which we are doing. So it has definitely the interdisciplinary appeal. It has lot of scope to apply in our own life. I thank Dr. Ithamar Theodore for accepting our invitation for the very last minute and presenting his special lecture in this valedictory session. He has elucidated the essence of Bhagavata Purana from aesthetic perspective. We understand here that why Bhagavata is called as Rasamalaya, why it is said that Pibata Bhagavatam, why Bhagavata and the very concept of Brahman and Krishna is correlated with the theory of rasa. So I thank you, Dr. Ithamar Theodore. I'm grateful towards Gauranga Prabhuji, who explicated very important text, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and providing us the framework about why bhakti was considered as a rasa from the Shastric perspective. We are thankful to Professor Ravi Gupta for deliberating on very important concept, interreligious dialogue, which is a need of the today's world. So his talk with reference to Chaitanya Vaishnavism and how Chaitanya Vaishnavism has a scope for interreligious dialogue. Then Dr. Kenneth Walpe also spoke on hagiographical text of Bhakti. So we are thankful to Professor Ravi Gupta and Dr. Kenneth Walpe for delivering special lectures. Now I thank entire team of the organizing committee of the conference for supporting us time to time. I thank my colleagues at the Department of Sanskrit, University of Mumbai, for endorsing the idea of this conference. All session moderators have conducted the sessions very well in disciplined and methodical manner. So no session was elongated very much. All sessions were going according to the proper time schedule. I extend my special thanks to technical team led by Balaram Leela Das, without which the smooth proceedings of this conference would have not been possible at all. I'm really happy and thankful to Dr. Sumanta Rudra and Dr. Ferdinando Sardella for supporting me time to time in curating this conference. We are grateful to all former heads of the Department of Sanskrit, all the scholar participants and senior professors, students, devotees, well-wishers, and friends across the globe who joined us and participated in discussions. It is just because of your active participation that this conference meets the success. Thank you all. Dhanyavadaha. Dhanyavada to all.
Dr. Shakuntala, I was saying, can we request everybody to maybe turn on their video one time?
Yes, yes, I think we must do this.
I think some people have turned on, but many more could, I guess. Right. Okay, any more? Take a few. Okay, we got quite a few. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shakuntala. Thank you, Dr. Ferdinando, Dr. Ithamar.
Thank you. So I hereby declare that this conference is concluded here itself. And let us meet again with some other new endeavor. So thank you so much for joining us. Thanks a lot. Dhanyavadaha. Namo namaha.
Thank you very much.
Oh.
Thank you for organizing such a wonderful conference regarding Bhakti, which is very, very helpful to attain very good life and a journey for next life also. And we got so much intense information regarding each and everything and sects and the tikas of the different states, all scholars. It is a wonderful conference. Thank you so much to all.
Thank you, Meera ji. Please share your contact information with us. We'll be very happy to be connected. Anybody else also wants to share anything, they can. You can unmute yourself and share, and please share your contact information with us. And we will be any other feedback you have.
Yeah, thank you. Namaste. Thank you. May I go ahead? May I share?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for organizing this program. I think across the 3 days, we were able to attend almost all of them, and it was such a varied, broad spectrum of topics that were covered, particularly all aspects of Bhakti and Vaishnavism in all parts of India. And it was really amazing. And I think, please keep us posted if you're planning to do any such sessions in the future. And it's amazing. And today, Chinnajiyar Swamiji's lecture was icing on the cake. So we really enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please share your contact details with us on the chat if you can. Anybody else would like to share anything?
Hello.
Yes.
I have attended the conference. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have attended the conference, and the theme is very innovative, though it is fundamental. It is presented very innovatively. It is the common faith in all religions as well as all panthas, because in every pantha, Bhakti is the basic thought, and all aspects of this Bhakti Veda are covered in this conference. Very clearly, the subjects were explained. Now, the next conference, we will be waiting for any other theme which will consolidate all panthas and which will go towards the unionization of these all panthas, because we have all panthas. The same spiritual teaching is there, but on very small grounds there is difference. So I hope this platform will take the note, and next conference will on the ways how we can unionize these all panthas, and again we will one as a Hindu religion. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arunji.
Thank you.
Pranam to everyone. Can I just take 1 minute? So as a student of PhD student. I'm pursuing for the PhD. And is there any possibility of getting all this scholars' view and the papers what they have submitted to the conference for our academic knowledge, so that we can also take some references from them and use in our PhD because when I am doing my PhD, I would like to quote my core subject would be on Bhakti only. I've done advanced diploma in Vallabha Vedanta and MA in philosophy, and I'm pursuing for PhD. So my core focus will be all this Dharma Shastras and all the gurus I wanted to take. Is there any possibility to get all these papers that I wanted to just confirm?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be coming up with a short summary and also with the detailed proceedings in the form of a book.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Namaste, sir.
Yes, Julia ji.
Also, I want to congratulate so much the University Bombay, along with the Stockholm University and Vedanta Bhakti, because a wonderful conference at the academic level. All this in other universities should be also this academic level research, scientific research in all this tradition, philosophy tradition. It was very, very enlightened. And then also I have this experience in Pune University, Savitribai Phule Pune University. In Sanskrit department, we have this in MA, Bhagavad Gita and Ramanuja point of view. And then, but that will be extended in the India and abroad. All this views, wisdom, all this knowledge, and valuable knowledge for all the world. And then also I was impacted with the conference of the Swami now because this point of view is helping all the world. And then thank you so much for organizing this kind of conference. Thank you. Namaskara.
Thank you very much, Julia ji. Please share your contact. You have registered. You would have provided your contact so that for future events, you can be in touch with us.
In the chat, I can.
Yeah, in the chat, you can mention. Yeah.
Or yes, or in the WhatsApp, no?
Madam, we have got permission for BRC Pune also. So as like Mumbai University, we can have joint conference with BRC Pune and Sanskrit Department of Pune University.
Oh, nice.
Yes, please share. You can, yeah, in the Zoom chat window or in the WhatsApp group, you can share your contact. Yeah. If you join the WhatsApp group, probably you have already put your contact in the registration.
So,
Okay.
Namaste.
Yes.
Yes. So my name is Durga. I'm from Chennai. So first, I would like to thank all the organizers who have arranged for this wonderful conference on Bhakti in Vaishnava tradition, and all the eminent speakers who have given a wonderful knowledge on Bhakti for all these 3 days. And we also would like to attend such wonderful topics in the near future. And congratulations to all the organizers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Your words are a very source of a great encouragement. Deepak Kapoor has raised their hand.
Yeah. Greetings to you. Jai Shri Krishna. I must say it's a wonderful international conference. Excellent and enlightening on different aspects of bhakti in Vaishnava tradition. It's really engrossing, I must say. I look forward to such programs in future also. And thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for such encouraging blessings. Please share your contact with us here. You already registered, hopefully on the
Deepak Kumar Kapoor from New Delhi.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned your names. We have it.
I'll just put my WhatsApp number, or you want the Gmail.
You can everything, whatever you can give.
Okay, right.
Anybody else?
Any
Any question or comments? Okay, I guess not. Then we will close this conference here. Thank you very much. Your words of encouragement, your expressions of your feelings about the conference are very valuable to us, and we look forward to more of such events happening in this area of understanding, learning from our ancient wisdom and applying it back into the society. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, Dr. Shakuntala, then we will end this.
Yes, good that we have got responses from the participants as well, and they are also recorded. So we were actually thinking of including this, but I think the participants have spontaneously given these responses. This is good. Now we can end. So we will be posting a feedback form in the WhatsApp group. So please submit that. And thank you for all.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please fill the feedback form. Please take out 1 minute. It will greatly help us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.